The Unexpected Weapon. Mission of the Dauntless. Captain James Hawkins stood on the bridge of the UEF Dauntless, the weight of his mission pressing heavily on his shoulders. Reports from intelligence had confirmed the existence of Prometheus, a weapon that could change the course of the war between the United Earth Federation and the Zorian Empire. His task was simple yet monumental: transport Prometheus to a secret base while evading Zorian forces. Suddenly, alarms blared as the ship shuddered under the impact of enemy fire. Hawkins gripped the armrest, his voice steady amidst the chaos. All hands, battle stations, return fire. The Dauntless's shields buckled under the relentless assault. Consoles exploded, sending showers of sparks and crew members flying. Hawkins watched in horror as some of his men lay still, their lifeless bodies a stark reminder of the stakes. "We can't hold them off much longer, Captain," shouted Commander Elena Rodriguez, the ship's tactical officer. Hawkins made a snap decision. "Prepare to jump to hyperspace. We need to get Prometheus to safety." As the Dauntless limped through space, Hawkins couldn't shake the feeling that they were being hunted. The Zorians had somehow known about their mission, and he needed to find out how. His thoughts were interrupted by a communication from Admiral Victor Petro. "Captain Hawkins, I'm afraid we've been compromised. The Zorians knew about Prometheus. We're investigating a possible leak within our ranks." Petro's voice was grim. Hawkins clenched his fists. "Understood, Admiral. We'll reach the research facility and secure Prometheus." Hawkins out. Hours later, the battered Dauntless arrived at the secret base. Dr. Edward Stern, the lead scientist on Project Prometheus, greeted Hawkins with a look of relief and concern. "Captain, I'm glad you made it. We've heard about the attack. Prometheus must be kept out of Zorian hands at all costs," Stern said, leading Hawkins into the facility. Inside, Hawkins saw Prometheus for the first time. It was a massive orb, pulsing with an eerie blue light. Dr. Stern explained its capabilities, how it could manipulate dark matter to create weapons of unimaginable power. "If the Zorians get this, they could conquer the entire galaxy," Stern warned. Hawkins nodded, his resolve hardening. "We won't let that happen. The Dauntless will protect Prometheus with our lives if necessary." Betrayal uncovered. Internal threats. Back at the United Earth Federation headquarters, Admiral Petro was deep in investigation mode. He had his suspicions, and the data he uncovered only confirmed them. High-ranking officials were discussing surrendering Prometheus to avoid war. Petro knew he had to act swiftly. He burst into General Marcus Graves's office, slamming a datapad on the desk. "We have traitors in our midst, General. They're leaking information to the Zorians." Graves's face darkened as he read the messages. "We need to root them out, but more importantly, we need to send a message to the Zorians." Petro nodded. "Captain Hawkins and the Dauntless are already en route with Prometheus. We need to show the Zorians and the Galactic Council that humanity will not be pushed around." Meanwhile, aboard the Dauntless, Captain Hawkins and his crew were preparing for the next leg of their journey. Prometheus was secure, but the threat was far from over. Dr. Stern was finalizing the weapon settings, his face lined with worry. "Captain, I must warn you. Using Prometheus could have unforeseen consequences. We still don't fully understand its power," Stern cautioned. Hawkins placed a reassuring hand on Stern's shoulder. "We don't have a choice, Doctor. We need to use every weapon at our disposal to protect humanity." Galactic Council confrontation. Diplomatic tensions. As news of Prometheus spread, the Galactic Council was thrown into chaos. Representatives from various species argued vehemently, their voices echoing through the Grand Chamber. At the center of it all stood the Zorian ambassador, his reptilian eyes gleaming with malice. "The humans have developed a weapon of mass destruction. We demand that the United Earth Federation surrender Prometheus immediately," the Zorian ambassador hissed. Ambassador Richard Donovan of the UEF stood his ground. "The UEF will not be bullied. Prometheus is our creation, and we will not hand it over." The chamber erupted into chaos once again. Some representatives sided with the Zorians, while others supported the humans. The council speaker banged his gavel, trying to restore order. "Enough. We will vote on this matter," the speaker declared. Hands went up, and the votes were tallied. The resolution passed, imposing economic sanctions on the UEF. The Zorian ambassador smirked. "You see, human, the council has spoken. You will comply or face the consequences." Donovan's face flushed with anger. "This isn't over. The UEF will fight this injustice with every means at our disposal." As the council session ended, Donovan immediately contacted Admiral Petro, relaying the news. The UEF was now isolated, cut off from allies and resources. The stakes had never been higher. The decisive strike. Strategic assault. Admiral Petro and General Graves met with Captain Hawkins via secure communication. The situation was dire, and they needed a bold plan to turn the tide. "Captain Hawkins, we're authorizing a strike deep into Zorian space. Use Prometheus to hit their military infrastructure. Show them that humanity won't back down," Petro ordered. Hawkins accepted the mission, his resolve unshakable. "We'll make them regret underestimating us." Admiral. The Dauntless, now fully repaired, set course for the heart of Zorian territory. Hawkins handpicked a crew of seasoned veterans and young recruits, all ready to lay down their lives for the mission. Dr. Stern worked tirelessly to ensure Prometheus was ready for deployment. As they approached the Zorian fleet, Hawkins felt a sense of unease. They were outnumbered, but they had a secret weapon. He gave the order, and Prometheus hummed to life, its blue light illuminating the bridge. A beam of pure energy shot out, striking the nearest Zorian ship. It exploded in a ball of fire, debris scattering through space. The Zorians were caught off guard, their ships scattering in confusion. "Keep firing," Hawkins commanded. The Dauntless weaved through the enemy fleet, Prometheus striking with deadly precision. One by one, the Zorian ships fell, unable to withstand the weapon's power. Victory and fallout. Heroes welcome. The Zorian fleet was in ruins. Hawkins and his crew had done the impossible, striking a blow for humanity that would be remembered for generations. As the Dauntless returned to Earth, they were hailed as heroes. In a grand ceremony, President Thomas Ward presented medals of valor to Hawkins and his crew. "Your bravery has ensured humanity's place among the stars. We will not be bullied or conquered. We will stand united." Despite the victory, Admiral Petro was concerned about the long-term implications. The Galactic Council was furious, and the Zorians would undoubtedly seek revenge. "We've won the battle, but the war is far from over," Petro warned. "We need to be prepared for anything." Preparing for the worst. Strengthening defenses. Back at the research facility, Dr. Stern and his team analyzed the data from the battle. They discovered that Prometheus had unforeseen side effects, potentially destabilizing the fabric of space-time. Stern knew they had to refine the weapon to prevent future catastrophes. Meanwhile, Admiral Petro and General Graves devised a plan to strengthen the UEF's defenses. They began recruiting and training new soldiers, building more advanced ships, and forging alliances with sympathetic species. Captain Hawkins continued to lead his crew, their bond stronger than ever. They knew that they had to stay vigilant, ready to face any threat that came their way. The final stand. Showdown. Months later, the Zorian fleet returned, larger and more powerful than before. The UEF was ready. The Dauntless, now equipped with a refined Prometheus, led the charge. The battle was fierce, with both sides taking heavy losses. Hawkins knew that this was the final stand. They had to win, or humanity would be doomed. "Activate Prometheus," Hawkins shouted. The weapon unleashed its full power, creating a massive singularity that tore through the Zorian fleet. Ships were sucked into the void, disappearing without a trace. The Zorians were defeated, but at a great cost. As the dust settled, Hawkins stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. "We've done it," he said, his voice filled with both relief and sorrow. "We've secured our future." The UEF emerged victorious, but they knew that the price of freedom was eternal vigilance. With Prometheus as their shield, humanity would continue to explore the galaxy, facing new challenges and forging new alliances. The aftermath. Rebuilding and reflection. With the Zorian threat neutralized, the UEF turned its attention to rebuilding. The damage inflicted by the war was extensive, and it would take years to restore what had been lost. But humanity was resilient, and they began the arduous task with determination and hope. Captain Hawkins and his crew were given a well-deserved rest. They had been through hell and back, and they needed time to heal. Hawkins spent his days reflecting on the journey they had undertaken, the lives they had saved, and those they had lost. Admiral Petro and Dr. Stern continued their work on refining Prometheus. They knew that the weapon had the potential to be a force for good if used responsibly. Stern proposed new safeguards and protocols to ensure that Prometheus would never again be used recklessly. A new era, exploration and discovery. As the UEF rebuilt, they also looked to the future. The victory over the Zorians had shown the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. New alliances were formed, and humanity was welcomed into the fold of galactic civilization. Captain Hawkins was given command of a new ship, the UES Ascendant. With Prometheus no longer a weapon but a tool for exploration, Hawkins and his crew set out on a new mission to explore the unknown reaches of space, seeking out new life and new civilizations. Their journey took them to uncharted worlds, where they encountered strange and wondrous beings. They forged alliances, shared knowledge, and worked together to build a brighter future for all. The legacy of Prometheus. Ensuring peace. The legacy of Prometheus was one of both caution and hope. The UEF had learned the hard way that great power came with great responsibility. They established the Prometheus Accord, a treaty that regulated the use of advanced technologies to ensure they would never be used for destructive purposes again. Captain Hawkins and his crew became ambassadors of peace, using their ship and its capabilities to help those in need. They worked to resolve conflicts, provide aid to disaster-stricken worlds, and promote understanding and cooperation among the diverse species of the galaxy. A new threat. Unforeseen challenges. Years passed, and the galaxy enjoyed a period of relative peace. But the universe was vast and unpredictable, and new threats emerged. A mysterious force, known only as the Nexus, began to destabilize entire star systems, its origins and motives unknown. Captain Hawkins and the crew of the Ascendant were called back into action. They were tasked with investigating the Nexus and finding a way to stop it. The journey would take them to the furthest reaches of space, where they would face challenges unlike any they had encountered before. The quest for knowledge. Seeking answers. The Ascendant traveled to ancient ruins on distant worlds, seeking clues about the Nexus. They encountered scholars, historians, and sages who shared their knowledge. Piece by piece, they began to unravel the mystery of the Nexus. Dr. Stern, now an elder statesman of science, joined the mission. His expertise in dark matter and advanced technologies was invaluable. Together with the crew, they discovered that the Nexus was a remnant of a long-forgotten civilization, a weapon of last resort that had gone rogue. The final battle. Confronting the Nexus. The Ascendant tracked the Nexus to its source, a massive artificial structure hidden in the heart of a black hole. The structure was a control center, built by the ancient civilization to harness and direct the power of the Nexus. Captain Hawkins knew that this would be their most dangerous mission yet. The crew prepared for the final confrontation, knowing that failure could mean the end of the galaxy as they knew it. They entered the black hole, navigating treacherous gravitational forces and hostile defenses. Dr. Stern worked feverishly to find a way to shut down the Nexus, while Hawkins and his crew fought to keep the ship intact. Triumph and sacrifice. Saving the galaxy. In a climactic battle, the Ascendant's crew managed to breach the control center. Dr. Stern found the core of the Nexus and initiated a shutdown sequence. But the process required manual activation, and Stern volunteered to stay behind. "Someone has to make sure this works," Stern said, his voice steady. "It's been an honor, Captain." Hawkins reluctantly agreed, knowing there was no other choice. He and the rest of the crew evacuated, leaving Stern behind. As they escaped the black hole, the Nexus began to collapse, its destructive power finally neutralized. Remembering the heroes, honoring the fallen, the galaxy was saved, but the cost was high. Dr. Stern's sacrifice was mourned by all who knew him. He was hailed as a hero, his name remembered alongside those who had given their lives to protect humanity. Captain Hawkins and his crew were celebrated as saviors of the galaxy. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious, their legacy one of bravery, sacrifice, and hope. A brighter future, building on their legacy. With the threat of the Nexus gone, the galaxy entered a new era of peace and prosperity. The Prometheus Accord was strengthened, ensuring that advanced technologies would be used responsibly. Captain Hawkins continued to lead the Ascendant on missions of exploration and diplomacy. They discovered new worlds, forged new alliances, and helped to build a brighter future for all. The story of Prometheus, the Dauntless, and the Ascendant became legend, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and their allies. Reflections. Looking back, years later, an older Captain Hawkins sat in his quarters aboard the Ascendant, reflecting on their journey. He thought of the friends they had lost, the battles they had fought, and the peace they had achieved. He knew that the galaxy would always face new challenges, but he also knew that humanity was ready. They had the strength, the courage, and the unity to face whatever lay ahead. New beginnings, passing the torch. As Hawkins neared the end of his career, he began to mentor the next generation of explorers and leaders. He shared his experiences, his wisdom, and his hopes for the future. The young officers he trained would go on to lead their own missions, continuing the legacy of the Dauntless and the Ascendant. They would explore new frontiers, face new threats, and build on the foundation that Hawkins and his crew had laid. The unending journey. Continuing the mission. The Ascendant, now commanded by a new captain, set out on another mission of exploration. The spirit of Prometheus lived on, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a beacon of hope and discovery. The journey was far from over. There were still countless worlds to explore, countless species to meet, and countless challenges to overcome. But with unity, courage, and determination, humanity and their allies would continue to thrive. A legacy of hope. The final chapter. Captain James Hawkins retired, his name etched into the annals of history. He had led his crew through the darkest times and emerged victorious. His legacy was one of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. As he looked out at the stars one last time, he knew that the future was bright. The galaxy was full of possibilities, and humanity was ready to embrace them all. The story of Prometheus, the Dauntless, and the Ascendant would be told for generations, a reminder that even in the face of the greatest challenges, humanity would always find a way to persevere and thrive.